One day, I will put that hair cover, the hijab, back on.
Does anyone else find it funny that this girl looks like a medieval page? What'd that bowl cut do? This is Nicole. She's 38 years old from LA, and she's on the show 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 4. She works as a food delivery person, and she also sells vintage clothes that she gets from flea markets. Nicole got into spirituality, and she was on a spiritual dating site. She saw an ad for a trip to Egypt, and she clicked on it and said, yes, I would love to go to Egypt and do some intense meditations. So she took a trip over there to Egypt. She walked into a fabric store. Whoa, all of a sudden she found the love of her life, and within a couple days of knowing this stranger, they were engaged. We, the audience of trash reality TV shows like 90 Day Fiancé, are used to seeing a lot of cringe creatures, people on this show, but Nicole is actually different from the typical kinds of people that we see on the show, because she married this man and converted to Islam after only a couple of days of knowing him. Nicole is very much someone that acts on impulse without realizing the consequences of her hasty decisions.
I start to find out all the rules. Things like doing the 5 prayers and the 5 washes.
Every single day.
There's this and there's that. Every moment of your life is being Muslim.
Nicole explains to her parents that she never ever wants to wear a hijab again.
But I tell them, I say, I will never, ever, 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 a day in my life, ever put that on again.
This girl really converted to Islam before reading the terms and conditions. At the beginning of episode 3, we see Nicole's parents come visit her to help her pack for her big trip to Egypt. Funny enough, this is actually Nicole's second trip to Egypt. She already previously tried to live with him in Egypt, and after 11 months, she divorced him. She moved back to America, canceled his visa paperwork, and also blocked him. Nicole will often complain to the audience about how her husband micromanages what she wears in Egypt. In fact, that was one of the main reasons why they broke up the first time. Nicole's parents, Harold and Wanda, are very lenient with their daughter and the idiotic decisions that she makes in her life. Nicole's dad says to the audience that he doesn't like that his daughter's moving to Egypt because it's a place that he can't easily get to. Fair point, firm handshakes to the dad. He's obviously concerned about his daughter's well-being. Also, it's worth mentioning that Nicole's parents have never once spoken to her husband, Mahmoud.
I don't think she really did think it through.
He's not going to tell her how to dress. I mean, we've never been able to tell her how to dress.
As a parent, how are you cool with your daughter moving to Egypt to live with a 30-year-old stranger and his family? I just had a brain blast moment, so I went to Google and I typed in if guys in Egypt typically ask the father's permission before marrying their daughter, and it turns out that they do. So for Nicole's husband, Mahmoud, to not have enough respect to ask the father's permission to marry his daughter, that's a huge red flag for me. I don't care where you're from in the world, it's a respect issue. Another bombshell that Nicole drops on her parents is that she already converted to Islam.
I am Muslim. I converted, yeah, I did convert.
When did you do that?
Before, 2 days before I married Mahmoud.
Her parents are just like, what the hell? Nicole's the kind of friend that keeps secrets. You don't hear from her in months, and all of a sudden you see her on that trash TV show 90 Day Fiancé wilding out in Egypt with a stranger. Nicole explains to the audience that her reason for converting to Islam was that she saw how much Mahmoud loved his faith and thought to herself, maybe I'm missing something in my life. Our Muslim Wetsocks, inshallah, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. I feel like this is a terrible reason to convert. Like, you should want to embody everything about the faith and fall in love with the faith before converting. Nicole is a very whimsical woman. She's almost like a mannequin that just came to life, and she's constantly looking for something to fill the void within herself. And now, after jumping into this relationship with someone that has grown up with family values, stability, and loves his faith and lives in Egypt, she wants to back out now and say, oh, well, I don't want to really follow all the rules of Islam. Well, then you shouldn't have joined in the first place. I'm pretty sure everyone in the world knows that Islam is very much an all or nothing faith and takes a lot of discipline. And speaking of discipline, Islam is a very bad match for Nicole because she lacks discipline. Not to mention, she very much enjoys to express herself through her outfits and finds the faith restrictive, but still gave her word to this man that she would convert to Islam and actually already converted to Islam. So she wants to be a Muslim that doesn't follow the rules of Islam.
And I don't follow any of the dietary restrictions. I don't cover my hair anymore. I don't think I need to do all of those things to have a great relationship with God.
Another huge problem I see with Nicole in this relationship is that she has terrible family values, and she didn't even have enough respect for her parents to tell them that she was marrying Mahmoud before doing so. These poor parents found out that their daughter married a stranger in Egypt from Facebook.
Somebody told us that it was on Facebook that she got married. So it was a big surprise. Real big.
Wow, what a betrayal that must feel like. What an ungrateful little shit they raised. That's the problem with when you give too much leniency in parenting. Or like you treat your kid as a friend instead of as a son or daughter. Mahmoud is a 30-year-old man living in Egypt that is a devout Muslim and refuses to compromise with matters concerning his faith. He even informs the audience that he cares about his religion more than his family. However, his family is second. Y'all know damn well when Nicole's man is talking about his devotion to his family and his faith, she's looking like that He-Man meme. She always tries to paint to the audience that she respects this man and his culture, but she didn't even bother to Google search it. So it's like, does she respect his culture and faith? I don't think so. How can you respect something you know nothing about? Anyways, Nicole flies over there to Egypt and plans on sitting her husband down to inform him that she doesn't actually want to follow any of the rules and regulations of Islam. Now, obviously, if you're not being filmed for a TV show, this is a conversation you have over the phone before you uproot your entire life and move from America to a foreign country. We meet Mahmoud. He says some very complimentary words about Nicole and then tells us about his job.
My job is manager for fabric store. I have like more than 12 years.
I don't know this man. I don't know if I like him, but I do respect the fact that he has worked the same job for 12 years. It gives off a very dependable and responsible image. Meanwhile, Nicole couldn't even stick it out working a job in the fashion industry when that's what she went to school for. We then meet Mahmoud's older brothers, and they seem like very nice guys. Mahmoud is the youngest brother, so they constantly look out for him, and they admit to the audience that at times it feels like he is their eldest son. Mahmoud will often look to his brothers for advice because they have more experience under their belt, especially his eldest brother because he is also married to a foreigner. His wife is from China. His brother's relationship with this woman from China actually turned out great, and she's living happily in Egypt. Now, to be fair, his wife did a lot of things right. She learned Arabic. She fully embraced Islam. She got accustomed to the culture in Egypt. I'm genuinely curious how Nicole is going to adapt, especially because as of now, she seems very wishy-washy about embracing Egyptian culture. Mahmoud's eldest brother then describes what it was like for his wife to adjust to their culture.
لكن في البداية كانت الأمور صعبة. لكن في الأول إحنا عندنا هدف. يعني هي عايزة تعيش معايا وأنا عايز أعيش معاها. فاحنا الاثنين اشتغلنا على نفسنا.
Yo, I'm thrilled he admits that they worked on themselves. To be honest, we don't see a lot of accountable men on the show. First impression wise, his brother seemed very supportive and positive about his relationship with Nicole, which is great to see. Mahmoud informs the audience that last time Nicole was here, they had an explosive argument about what she was allowed to wear in public. Go figure. His brothers go on to tell him that it's actually your responsibility to coach this girl up on what is allowed versus what isn't allowed in our culture and religion.
I'm not looking forward to living in Egypt. I know what it's like there, and I don't like it. Like, I don't like the life there. Like even simple things like I don't know how to go to the grocery store.
That sounds like a you problem, Nicole. Learn the language and stop being lazy. Let's have a common sense moment, right? You go and fly to Egypt. You look up on your phone. Where's the nearest corner store? Oh, you find it. It's a 5-minute walk. You go and walk there. You get enough groceries for today or a couple of days. You walk back. It's really not that hard to be a functioning member of society in another country. Fast forward, Bowl Cut lands in Egypt and she sees the love of her life. She walks and smiles over to her man, gives him a hug and says, "Is it okay if I hug you? I don't want to go to jail." Mahmoud did not like this comment at all and just reminded her and the audience that it's perfectly fine to hug and kiss your wife, especially at the airport when you haven't seen each other in a long time.
This time I didn't hear, oh, I never want to come here. Because when she tired, oh, the first thing she told me, I don't want to come here. Yeah.
Oh shit, look at her face, y'all. Something I've noticed about this couple is that they constantly throw passive-aggressive digs at each other. Let the games begin. My dude, before bringing up the uncomfortable past, how about give her time to at least take a shower? She just flew 17 hours to get to Egypt. Also, let me know what y'all think in the comments, but the child-teasing-like way that he said this gave me the ick. You can tell Mahmoud is fearful that Nicole will break up with him and once again leave Egypt, which is why he makes comments like this.
My wife going to stay more this time.
You're worried that I'm not going to stay?
You know, yeah.
If you're someone that constantly talks about negative things or dwells on the past, I believe that the past recreates itself and you attract negative things in your life. Just because Nicole left in the past doesn't mean that she's gonna leave this time. I feel like instead of harping so much on the past, he should just focus on the present. As I said earlier, after being married to this man for 11 months and living in Egypt, she told him that she wanted a divorce. She canceled his visa application and also blocked him. So a lot of things he's saying, a lot of these comments are from a place of hurting and insecurity and wanting to feel safe. My dude, Mahmoud, it's never good to seek exterior validation, and you should learn how to communicate that you feel unsafe in a healthier way. While walking through the airport, our dude asked Nicole to close her jacket because her shirt isn't fully covering her lower stomach area. Nicole buttons her jacket and says, "So rude." He didn't ask in a rude way. He was actually really polite about the situation. Nicole's just very defiant.
But though, Mahmoud, like,
My mom and my dad, it's not like because they're husband and wife, she has to cover her body. That's ridiculous.
Mahmoud is always so picky about what I'm supposed to wear in his native country. Hi, Nicole. I'm your wet counselor. I'm here to talk to you about a little something I call common sense. You knew this man's culture, religion, but most importantly, his expectations out of how he wanted his wife to be. You promised to be those things and uphold those rules and conditions, only to go back on it after you're married.
Before even we married, I talked about the clothes and this. Will I cover your body? You said yes. You wear a hijab? You said yes, right?
Well, I mean, I've always admitted that I made a mistake.
Nicole, much like a wiggle worm, is trying to wiggle her way out of the situation.
The rules are just so rigid, so they're so firm and there's no negotiation about it.
Nicole, look at me. If you say that you're gonna do something and then you don't do it, you betray yourself. And in relationships, if you make your partner a promise and then go back on it, you betray your partner. And why would anyone want to spend their life with someone that is a liar or doesn't keep their promises? The first day that Nicole showed up to Egypt, Mahmoud and his family were super welcoming. They wanted to make her feel included, like part of the family. They were cracking jokes. They brought out potato chips. They all just wanted to enjoy this family time. And you could tell that Nicole was absolutely bugged out of her brain. She obviously is someone that prefers to be isolated and be on her own. And she's not used to that much mental stimulation from multiple people all at once.
Kids are talking, the adults are talking, and they're like all just talking, and I don't know who's talking to who sometimes.
And in Nicole's defense, she just got off a 17-hour flight, so I'm sure the majority of us would want to shower and go to sleep. Something else she did that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way was she brought up in the car ride over to his family's apartment that she didn't want to live with his family and was already insisting that they get their own apartment.
We are going to get an apartment.
Here's the problem with this, Nicole. The last time that you were in Egypt living with Mahmoud in an apartment, after only about 2 months, you left Egypt, broke up with him, and blocked him and canceled his visa paperwork. So isolating yourself in an apartment, he doesn't necessarily think that that's a good idea. If anything, he wants to show you how a family should interact, which is why he wants you to be in his family's house so that you can see the customs, the culture. They can take you, bring you in, embrace you, and you can start to gain a new perspective. Mahmoud says to the audience that every time Nicole flies from the United States to Egypt, they get in an argument about whatever she's wearing. Problem I see with Mahmoud is that instead of holding her accountable for the promises that she's going back on now, currently in our present time, he instead would rather just deflect or agree with her because he doesn't enjoy arguing. And I get that people are afraid of confrontation. However, if someone is breaking the promises they make you, then they deserve to be confronted about that. And you should bring that up. If you feel disrespected in your relationship and you're just agreeing with your partner because you don't want to create waves, that's going to fester. Like, that feeling of disrespect is going to stay in you, and it's going to lead to more problems down the road. As the young lovers walk out of the airport, they are greeted by Mahmoud's cousin, who drives them to his family's apartment. Honorable mention to Egypt for being so picturesque. We would get fire selfies there for sure. In the car ride with Ibrahim, Nicole starts acting up because her social battery is running on low and she's incredibly nervous about speaking with this man's entire family after a long flight to Egypt. We gotta remember, it's not the first time that she met them. She's already lived in Egypt for a number of months. I'm sure that the whole family is very excited to see her. In the car ride, Mahmoud is texting someone. Nicole wants to see who he's texting. He says that it's a secret, which is kind of sus. Even in the airport, just going based off this man's body language, it seems like he's not as into her as she is into him. However, that could also be premature of me to say. Maybe she's just more touchy and expressive physically than he is. Nicole's so negative about living with this man's family when it could be a really good thing for her to learn about family values and respect. Life is what you make out of it. Being surrounded with people that see the world through different lenses can force you to level up because you'll gain a new perspective. So I think that she should just enter this with a positive attitude. Mahmoud and Nicole then carry their heavy suitcases up to the apartment, where they are greeted by his entire family, and they are hyped to see Nicole. I thought his family was very mature by how they greeted Nicole, and they held no resentment for how she treated him in the past. The whole family engages in a bit of small talk. Nicole has big shy girl energy. Mahmoud's sister-in-law Fatima is from China. She's great vibes and very hopeful that Nicole becomes part of their family. Mahmoud makes a joke about Nicole potentially leaving and going back to America in front of his family, and says that if she tries to do it again, he's just gonna steal her passport. Him, his brother, and the majority of the family starts laughing. You can tell that they meant it as a joke, but Nicole didn't necessarily take it as a joke at first. Nicole then says to the audience, "My sister sister-in-law Fatima is from China and she's adjusted so much better than I have. She covers her body, wears a hijab, and she lives like an Egyptian. I'm not surprised that Fatima had an easier transition than Nicole because we have to remember that the United States and China are very different culturally, especially when it comes to family values. Not to mention Fatima came to Egypt on a mission. She fully was ready to embrace the culture, make the culture part of her, live her life as an Egyptian woman, and create a beautiful family with her husband. When Nicole showed up to his family's apartment, she brought a whole lot of nervous energy. She reminded me of us before prom. You know how we did the pictures when all the parents came over and took pictures and we were like, we didn't know which camera to look at?
Alhamdulillah as-salama. منورة القاهرة.
Nicole complains to the audience that in Egypt they eat a lot of fried food, and although she partakes in the fun because fried food is delicious, it does give her the tummy rumbles. Let's run the calculations on this. So eating a lot of fried food gives her a stomach ache. However, she doesn't communicate to the family that eating a lot of fried food gives her a stomach ache, so they don't know, and she just suffers in silence. Sounds like a her problem. You can tell she's suffering in silence because every time we see this girl on camera, she looks like she's about to cry. We have free will, Nicole. By all means, speak up. Before she took a bite of the potato chip, she communicated to Mahmoud that she wanted to wash her hands. As she's saying this, her husband hands her a chip and she eats it. What do you think that potato chip tasted like after a 17-hour flight? Hands down for me, the most tilting thing about Nicole is watching this girl eat food. Look at the way she eats potato chips. Like, did you just spawn on the earth? $1 million idea for Nicole. Start a YouTube channel of you eating food the wrong way. Something else peculiar to me is the timing of this relationship because this is your second time trying to build a life with this man in Egypt. Funny how y'all were broken up and then you got the call back from the network and then decided to go on the show before the 90 days and now you're going back to Egypt to try and make this work out when a lot of people would have walked away. Makes me question your motive. It seems to me like Fatima erased a lot of her personal identity for this relationship with her husband. And within a couple episodes of seeing the way that Nicole operates, I do not believe that she's willing to do the same. Not to mention we're only a couple of episodes into this present season and we can see that Nicole is a wishy-washy person that constantly goes back on her word. So what would happen if Mahmoud got them an apartment in Egypt? Let's say he got a year lease. She's the kind of troll that would pick an argument with him about him not allowing her to dress like Lady Gaga in Egypt. And then she all of a sudden packs her stuff, leaves after a month, and then he's stuck paying for a year lease. Mind you, paying for a year lease when he could easily just stay for free at his family's house. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I get that she wants her own space, but this should have been agreed upon before you sold all of your personal items in America and full sent it over here to Egypt. You should have talked to him about this and not waited till it was on camera. That's incredibly manipulative in itself. It's also manipulative for you to set a false narrative before entering this relationship because you agreed to all of this man's demands and then now you're going back on your word and now you want everything your way, and it's almost like you're trying to recreate your life in America in Egypt.
Next time on Yourwetsock, Nicole cries in the bathroom because she's homesick after spending one day in Egypt. Maybe she should call her parents to come pick her up. Oh wait. She asks our dude Mahmoud to introduce her to his friends and they meet up for dinner and it's super awkward. Tune in next week to find out what secrets this girl is hiding underneath her bowl cut.
If y'all want some one-on-one time with me, please order a Cameo. I'm actually the #1 creator on Cameo. It's not even close. Super thankful for y'all watching my videos. Comment below, subscribe, let your friend, follow me on Twitch and Instagram right now.